and welcome to SQ TV Global. I am your host Rajni Bharara, and today the show is going to be very special as we are going to speak with Brigadier Henry Bhaskar about respected CDS Bipin Rawat. We would like to tell you that Brigadier Henry Bhaskar was very close to General Bipin Rawat and also knew him personally. Today, we will not only talk about him and his journey, but also we'll discuss a bit about the next CDS for India after our respected Bipin Rawat. But before, we would like to welcome him to SQ TV Global and also to the show. Hello, sir. Welcome to SQ TV Global.
Thank you so much for having given me a chance.
So, sir, I actually would like to know from you that what was your reason behind joining the army? So, why did you decide, and what was your reason behind it?
I am the only son of my parents, and
Mhm.
right from my childhood, I always liked to wear a uniform, don a uniform, right?
Okay.
In school, I joined the Boy Scouts. Then when I came to college, I joined the NCC.
Mhm.
And fortunately, with God's grace, I have done well in NCC, became a senior under officer. And I've been selected from Tamil Nadu state to take part in the Republic Day Parade in 1960. And there also I got the honor to lead the boys contingent in the Republic Day Parade and the Rajpath. So after having come, I was pretty motivated that I must join the army because, somehow I have a great urge to serve the country, see war, fight the war for the country, and so on. And I've seen a lot of movies. But my NCC officer was a great motivating factor,
Mhm.
and he really wanted me to join the army. And he has filled out the application, all these things on his own, taking the initiative in doing that. And ultimately, I was called for I went for the Services Selection Board. But, I must mention this for the benefit of the viewers that, unlike these central services like IAS or IPS or IFS, for the
Mhm.
defense services, one has to undergo a process called Services Selection Board. The
Mhm.
Services Selection Board is a very technical thing, whereas the more psychological thing and find whether you have the OLQ, that is officer-like quality, to be an officer in the
Mhm.
defense services, because you can be a deputy commissioner of a city or a senior superintendent or a IGP, but to
Mhm.
be an officer in the defense services to lead men into battle, but everybody is
Mhm.
armed, so you require a different kind of a quality to be a no.
Mhm.
In the armed forces, they say, firstly, you're a gentleman, you're first gentleman, then an officer. Because if you're
Yeah.
not a gentleman, you cannot lead a man by your integrity and your straightforwardness and your character. You'll be the first person to get a bullet in the back in battle because everybody's armed. So
Mhm.
therefore, the services selection board, they assess whether you have the officer-like qualities and you're selected. Fortunately, I got through the services selection board the first attempt. Then I joined the Indian Military Academy, my alma mater in Dehradun, did my
Mhm.
training, and I have a fairly good thing. I passed out very creditably, and I
Mhm.
was commissioned in the Mahar Regiment. Mahar Regiment is an infantry unit.
Mhm.
Infantry, there are so many elements in the army. Infantry, the
Mhm.
one, it is the one which is fights the battle. Rest all supporting. It's all support, or give logistic support or operational support. But infantry,
Mhm.
the one actually, there's a combat fighting arm. So I joined the infantry, and
Mhm.
our training is different because when you're they say, look, the army is the last hope of the government. After that, there's nobody else. So
Yeah.
government. So if you fail, the country will fail. If the country fails, what will be the security of everybody, your father, mother, sisters, and all? So therefore,
Yeah.
they give you the culture to win. You must win. Now, honge kamyab is a key
Yeah.
word, right? The winning culture comes, so you're motivated. And as a second lieutenant, you're really raring to go. And it is the dream of every infantry officer to
Mhm.
get a chance to participate in a battle, in a war, and fight for the country, win battle for the country, right?
Mhm.
It's a dream.
Mhm.
So I was very lucky to get a chance to participate in the Indo-Pak War of 1965 against the Pakistanis, and
Yeah.
also the Second War of 1971 with the Pakistanis, right?
Mhm.
In 1965 war, I was in the Sialkot sector, and initially I was in Cham sector, later on Sialkot sector. And let me tell you, to go into battle, everybody is scared. After all, you're a human being.
Mm-hmm.
But in the infantry, like you get a inoculation for COVID, protect you. Like this, we also undergo battle inoculation. What is the battle
Mm-hmm.
inoculation? You're put through a battle situation where a lot of dhamaka and firing, everything goes on. You crawling through and get used to this firing and hearing all those sounds and all. So therefore, when you go into the battle, you're not scared. Of course, you're a
Mm-hmm.
human being. You're scared for some time, but you're trying to get over the fear of the unknown very soon, and you're totally focused on what you have to do for the country, how you can win the battle for the country. That is the
Mm-hmm.
the most,
Yeah.
you're focused on that. So I had a chance to take part in the 65 war in hand-to-hand fight with Pakistanis. And in
Mm-hmm.
war, as you know, there's no second prize, there's no silver medal, only the gold medal, because the
Yeah.
quick or the
Yeah.
dead. There's no runners-up in battle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So therefore,
Mm-hmm.
in the 65 war, I was in the last day, few days before ceasefire. The Pakistanis were trying hard to capture as much territory as possible, trying to attack
Mm-hmm.
us, but we were holding on the Sialkot sector in the Jammu and Kashmir. But every inch of the ground after ceasefire is used for the bargaining purposes. Therefore, we have to fight very hard, tooth and nail. Every inch matters.
Yeah.
But during 65 war in my sector, one of the Pakistani elements came into our defenses and heading towards the battalion headquarters, which is the nerve center of the whole operations, and
Mm-hmm.
want to eliminate the commanding officer and his team. If the commanding
Mm-hmm.
officer is eliminated or a casualty, the battle will not take place as planned because the top man is gone. That's what they're trying
Mm-hmm.
to do. So sensing this, I've been given a task to go and intercept this particular team, which is heading
Mm-hmm.
towards the battalion quarters, and to prevent them and annihilate them or neutralize them. As I was going, I met the Pakistani troops in front of me, 4 or 5 people, a special team. And of course, as I told you, in their battle, the quick or the dead. So I was
Yeah.
happened to be quick than other guy, and I pumped a lot of things into him, and he's finished, and we carried on, and we stabilized the battle. And of course, the ceasefire came, and we didn't allow Pakistanis to have their way, and we won the battle. But later on, after the war is over, it realized that person who came into our defenses to destroy the battalion quarters is a person known as Major Razvi of the Pakistan Army, right? And since he had done this job, he was
Mm-hmm.
awarded the highest decorations posthumously by the Pakistan government, and he was
Mm-hmm.
given an honor, the decorations of a Sitare Zurat. Sitare Zurat decorations is equal to Paramveer Chakra of the
Mm-hmm.
Indian side.
Mm-hmm.
So I had the honor or the distinction of sending the man who got the Sitare Zurat up to nearer to God. Okay, that's one of those things I want to say. But however, thereafter, in thereafter in 1971 war also, I was operating in Chittagong sector, and we were heading towards Chittagong, and my force was going towards Chittagong to tie down the troops in Chittagong so that
Mm-hmm.
they are not reinforcing Dhaka, so
Mm-hmm.
that the Dhaka capture can be facilitated easily. And
Mm-hmm.
as we are going to Chittagong, we met the enemy opposition. The last stand of the Pakistanis, the brigade was there outside Chittagong, and we hit. And when we hit the enemy position, we don't attack headlong, full-heartedly,
Yeah.
carry out a reconnaissance. And normally we put a stop behind the enemy. So when you attack enemy in the center, stop in the back, you come from you sandwich the enemy and
Mm-hmm.
defeat him. That's the technique. My company, along with the Mukti Bahini, heard of Mukti Bahini, this Bangladesh people,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the Pakistani thing who defected this in East Bengal Rifles, and I was told like a little force. I was leading the force as major, sent behind the enemy lines to put a stop so that we can attack and clear the position and capture Chittagong. As I went there and occupied my designated position, I was told to come back because the information already leaked out that Pakistanis are not going to give a fight. They're going to surrender, right?
Mhm.
So therefore, I came back. When I came back, and I was told to deploy. When I deployed, a lot of suddenly we've been surrounded by a lot of Pakistanis, and a lot of fighting took place, and I ran, and a lot of things happened, and somehow I escaped, and ultimately Pakistani surrendered. These are two important things I want to mention about my
Mhm.
battle experience in the 71 war. Thereafter, we advanced toward Chittagong, and I was the first Indian officer to reach Chittagong by the land route. And we occupied Chittagong, and a lot of riots broke out in Chittagong. We stabilized the situation. We were holding on Chittagong, and we came back. We handed over Chittagong and to the Bangladesh scene comeback. But I must
Mhm.
say, in 1971 war, we are celebrating the golden jubilee of this 71 war, is unique in so many ways because this is the only war which enabled us to create
Mhm.
another new country, like a new country like Bangladesh, right? The
Mhm.
Indian
Mhm.
Army, the Indian Defense Forces, with the guidance of the Indian government, has created a new nation called Bangladesh. But no
Mhm.
other army can do it. Secondly, in 1971 war is the only war after Second World War, the maximum number of prisoners have been captured. We captured something like 75,000 Pakistani troops as a prisoner of war. Thirdly, most importantly, by 71 war, we have totally annihilated or mauled the war waging capability of the Pakistan army to wage war against us for quite some time. These are
Mhm.
three major achievements. Therefore, 71 war is a very landmark war. And after 71 war, there's no, well, with a small little war took place in Kargil. I was not taking part in the thing. But however, let me also add, I have only one child, a son. He is also in the army, right? He is also in the Maha regiment. And he took part in Kargil war. And he is one of the leading elements to go on top of the Tiger Hill. You must have heard of Tiger Hill, very famous
Mhm.
landmark,
Mhm.
and capture that. So he's also been decorated for this. So this is all I want to say about my operational experience.
Wow. Wow. I mean, sir, I would say that words cannot be, I mean, words are not enough to praise you. And I can say whatever words, or I can say, whatever praise that comes into my mind for you. But I don't think those words or those praises would be enough for you. So I can only say that we really, really salute you, and we are really, really thankful. Um, you know, to you for serving the country, and now your son is serving the country. So thank you, thank you, thank you so much for that. So with this, I would now like to move on to my next question. So, sir, you also happen to know, uh, you know, General Bipin Rawat very closely, and also, you have trained him. So we now also would like to know from you about uh, General Bipin Rawat.
Yeah, I would like to say General Bipin Rawat, one of the outstanding military leaders the Indian Army has produced,
Mhm.
and he's from a military family. Actually, he's from a military family, and he was been as a student, he's been very brilliant as a young officer, very brilliant, and with a sword of honor from his course. And I happened to be his instructor. I was his instructor, and unlike in the civil domain, the relations between the instructor and the student is more intimate, more long lasting. If you're an instructor, so you remain instructor and command the respect of your students for a very long time to continue. So that feeling that I had, and I was an instructor when he did his junior command course. And not only that, General Bipin Rawat's father, he is a Lieutenant General Lakshman Singh Rawat, was a corps commander, and I was his staff officer, general staff officer, and I moved very closely with him. And when I was there in Batinda, along with serving under his father in Tenko, Bipin Rawat used to visit very often on duty, on leave, and there we had a lot of interaction. And because I was his staff officer, his father, he has got more time for me, and I used to interact and discuss a lot of things. In addition to that, we kept this relationship of the instructor and the student for a long time. Whenever he visited Secunderabad or Hyderabad, And I was always invited for these parties, and the party used to meet us and exchange the pleasantries. And they also told me, sir, the last thing when he visited Hyderabad was before he went as a chief of defense staff, and his farewell visit as a chief of the army staff. There's a big party in Hyderabad cantonment. I was also invited. The last thing he told me was, sir, don't worry for anything. Anything if you want, just ring me up. You ring me up on my mobile or a landline, and things will be done. This is the last thing he spoke to me. After it's no more. It's a personal loss. India, not only me, the country has lost one of the wonderful, very prominent, very professional soldiers and a visionary soldier. So that's all I want to say. Now, as far as one more thing as the thing is concerned is, the chief of the defense staff, General Bipin Rawat, was a visionary, and he initiated far-reaching reforms in the Indian military higher directions of war. Right? He was instrumental in planting the idea of theater command. No, after all, the job of the chief of defense staff is to bring in the army, navy, air force together, bring a lot of synergy, right? And together and to fight as a cohesive unit for battle. That is his job. And he started the job as being the first chief of defense staff. He started it, and he was on the way in creating the unified theater command. Not only that, the other thing is that during his tenure as the chief of defense staff, he identified that although our main adversary was always Pakistan, but he identified that in future war, China is going to be the maximum security concern for us, not Pakistan. So he has identified that we got to prepare for ourselves to face the Chinese designs, nefarious designs of country. And also, he's also made a plan for fighting in 2.5 fronts. That is, one front with the Pakistan, one front with China, half the front internal local terrorists and disruptive elements, right? But he is a man who really propagated the doctrine of fighting a battle. Number one adversary preparedness is towards countering the Chinese designs. All right. And these are things he did, and he was very vocal. He is forthright in his thought, and to bring in Army, Navy, Air Force together, it's a very difficult job to be done. There's a lot of criticism, a lot of opposition, but unruffled, he did that, and he has made a beginning. Unfortunately, he is no longer with us. And as far as I'm concerned, General Bipin Rawat is one of the finest military commander, visionary, and a professional soldier, and he's always had the welfare of the country in his heart, always.
Yeah.
Country first, country comes first, and that's such things. And he is not for any popularity or something. He always called a spade, and a very competent soldier, and it's a great loss that India has lost him.
Definitely one of the biggest losses our country could have had, and also it's a very a very unfortunate event that happened. But sir, also I would like to know from you, yes, he was, and he is always going to be the greatest of the great, and he surely kept our country first. But sir, now I would like to also know from you, so when he became India's first CDS, so what were the changes that happened in the army after that? If you can please talk about that.
I forgot to mention one thing more about General Bipin Rawat. There was a standoff between the Indian army and Chinese army in the area of Doklam. You heard about Doklam standoff? In Doklam standoff, at that time he was the chief of the army staff, and he made sure that we didn't concede any ground to Chinese and stand up to Chinese and say, China man is no longer 10 feet tall, he is what he is. And we stood up to it and made sure that China didn't have the way. Also, he was one of the important personality. He was the chief when the hot surgical strike was conducted, and he was the chief, and he always advocated the hot pursuit of any trans-border aggression by the enemies. And he said operationally, he have done a lot of quality changes in his time. Right. Now, these are the things I want to add about General Bipin Rawat, who's no more with us. Right. Now, your next question about what is the things happening in the army, right? Now, as you're aware, the Indian Army is the third largest army in the world in terms of manpower, and in terms of most powerful army, is the fourth most powerful army in the world, supposedly. However, Indian Army has to go a long way to get modernized and to be able to stand up the modern present-day technological warfare. India, I mean, I'm sorry to say this, but my personal opinion, Indian Army is equipped and organized to fight the past war, not the future war, right? We have to make a lot of changes, but unfortunately, the modernization plan is lagging behind for lack of funds and various other parameters are there. But notwithstanding that, there are a lot of changes have been come into the army. That there are a lot of good things happen. That we have been introduced a good lot of sophisticated weapon system in our artillery, and also indigenously made. And we also got US 177 Howitzer. No, it's a very weapon, and we got the Chinook helicopters, heavy lift helicopter, to shift these guns from one place to another place in mountainous terrain, which is basically for having a Chinese in the view. Where the mountain warfare is always against the Chinese adversary. So this will be a very useful weapon system, which Chinook helicopter shifting plus one place to another place, a lot of mobility is given. In all these before, we've been only depending upon the Me-17 helicopters or B-26 helicopters, but we have gone for Apache helicopters, Apache attack helicopters, and we've inducted in it from the US. We got it, and about 26 of them were to start with. And introduction of the Apache helicopter into a defense system is totally a game changer. It'll be utterly totally, it'll help us a lot in the thing is the battle winning factor. In addition to that, we've been inducted Tejas, light combat aircraft, and Russian missile S-400. You must have heard of the paper that recently, despite the US opposition to it, we gone ahead and contracted to purchase S-400 anti-tank surface-to-air missile system from Russia. And also we have, we upgraded, we got Rafale fighter aircrafts and Sukhoi helicopters, so Sukhoi aircraft. So therefore, a lot of things happen, and also we've been given a latest modern, the jacket, anti-bullet jacket, and a lot of other things happen. So a lot of things are happening, but we have a long way to go to be able to fight the modern warfare and technologically superior warfare. We have a long way to go, but the upgradation system is on. But finance is the biggest constraint. But ours is not a very rich country, unlike US and other things. But suffice to say that you're being protected. India is being protected by a superior defense forces, and you as a country, I want to tell all our countrymen to remain at peace and enjoy yourself, because you're lucky to have inherited such a fine army, navy, air force to protect you and to stay in peacefully.
We cannot be more proud. So thank you so much again for that. And because of people like you, and we can sleep so peacefully at night. So thank you so much for that again. And with this, you actually spoke about the changes that happened after CDS. Bipin Rawat became India's first CDS. So now I would like to know from you, after the unfortunate event that happened recently, and he's no more with us. So, there have been speculations going on that who will be becoming the next CDS. So, is there anything that you would like to say to that?
Well, it is the job of the Ministry of Defense to shortlist the suitable generals, and it will be the duty of the Cabinet Committee of Appointments to appoint, Cabinet Committee of Security and Cabinet Committee of Appointments to appoint the next CDS. Mm-hmm. But I cannot speculate. But from my side, according to me, I can only guess that the suitable candidate for the next CDS could be the present Chief of the Army Staff, General Narwane, But I'm not competent to say that because I cannot speculate. This is my personal opinion. I can be right, I can be wrong. This is what I think so. But
Okay,
official
great.
news will come out very soon. I think they will
Mhm.
not delay. I think maybe by tonight you'll get the news perhaps as to who has been selected as the next CDS.
So before I let you go, one more thing I would like, to ask you, and I would like, is there something that you would like to tell the audiences about our respected CDS Bipin Rawat that you would want to stay with our audiences that actually was said to you by himself, or his personality trait, or something that he said to you, or something about him that you would want to stay with the audiences who's watching us right now?
But General Bipin Rawat, you're talking about? You wanted
Yes.
me to say something about General Bipin Rawat?
Yeah.
As I told you, General Bipin Rawat is a very highly professional, committed, and dedicated, motivated general of the Indian Army, a finest soldier who will always had the welfare of the country at heart. And he is from a family of generals. His father has been a general, and right from his career days, he's been an outstanding officer. He's a sword of honor from the Indian Military Academy. He stood first in his course and did well in so many trainings, and he's been decorated with so many medals and awards, and he has done a lot of courses abroad. Also, he has the distinction of commanding a multinational brigade in Congo. He's been selected to command, and he commanded with distinction. And he also very, very highly experienced in the counterinsurgency anti-terrorist operations, and he
Mhm.
commanded a corps which is mainly in Dimapur, dealing with all the militants of the northeast. And
Mhm.
as a vice chief also, he played a very major role. And in our Balakot attack, Indian attack and Balakot, he played a major role, giving a lot of inputs from the ground to assist the Air Force and the country to carry out successful raid on the Balakot, and also
Mhm.
surgical when a surgical strike carried out. He was the chief, and he also
Mhm.
played a major role. And he's got a lot of things to his credit. And he's one of the finest soldier and the
Yeah.
finest general. We lost him, and but uh, well, I am sure that his legacy will continue, and whatever he started off, and they'll continue to make sure that to take it to its final fruition.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Thank you so much, sir, for coming to SQ TV Global and speaking with us. It was such a beautiful show that we had, and it was such an honor speaking with you, and such an honor actually speaking about General Bipin Rawat. So thank you again for coming to the show and speaking with us, and taking your time out and doing the show.
Thank you very much, and I'm equally, enjoyed this interaction, and I want to convey good wishes and all the best to the all the viewers, and also to YouTube TV for having invited me. And I want before I close, I want to say a word of advice to all the viewers that don't worry about sending your sons or daughters to join the defense services, because if you join the defense services, the normal notion is if you join the army, you will die. No. A thousand of bullets came on me. There are so many grenades blew here and there everywhere on me. And I'm still sitting and giving an interview to you. That means the life and death is not in your hands, it is in his hand, God's hand. So don't worry about it. It's joining and serving the country is a very honorable job to serve in the army. It's a highly honorable and respectable job and highly paid job with a lot of perks. So you must motivate your children, your sons and daughters to join the Indian Armed Forces and serve the country, so that the country can be fitted, because everybody want to be a IT engineer
Yeah.
or a technocrat or something, IS officer, but who is going to defend the country? So we have to think of defending a country. It's a very honorable job, and
Yeah.
please think about it, and it will be worthwhile. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. And also, so I would like to, also say one small thing that, keeping aside all the reasons, I think the biggest reason and the best reason should be there is nothing better than serving the country.
Yes, it is. It is definitely is with nothing but that serve the country. Get a great satisfaction, and you want to do something for the country because you must do something for the country. Country will take care of you, right?
Yeah.
And
Mm.
serving in the Indian Army, and doing for the India, it's a great privilege and a great job, and I am enjoying it. My son is also equally enjoying it. Thank you so much for inviting
Thank you,
me.
sir.
All the
Thank
best.
you. Thank you. All right, guys, that's it from SQ TV Global. Keep on watching and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.